stop the fight, but physicians do have a lot of input. In the case of an accidental foul, you go to the scorecards after the fourth round is complete. You must get the bell for round 5. If that comes into play, we'll explain it more.
All right, so we're all set. Bob Sheridan here with, of course, Dave Bontempo. Our ring announcer, Ted Lerner, is standing by. Let's get our first fight underway. Ted, take it away.
Magandang umaga sa inyo lahat. At sa mga Pilipino sa buong mundo. Welcome to the Araneta Coliseum as today ABS-CBN Corporation and ABS-CBN Global in association with Manny Pacquiao Promotions presents Mano a Mano, the Philippines versus Mexico. This next contest is scheduled for 10 rounds and it is in the bantamweight division. The judges scoring this contest at ringside on a 10-point must system are Arnel Pasion, Captain Ramon Flores, and Ricardo Conlas. And when the bell rings, your third man in the ring, referee Ferdinand Estrella. Now let's meet the boxers. First of all, fighting out of the blue corner, tonight wearing the blue trunks with the silver trim. He weighed in at an even 117 pounds. Fight record, 22 wins, 8 losses, 14 victories by knockout. He comes from Veracruz, Mexico. Let's have a warm Philippine welcome for Tomas Rojas. And his opponent fighting out of the red corner tonight, wearing the black trunks with the yellow trim. He weighed in at 118 pounds. His fight record, 49 wins, 5 losses, 2 draws, 31 victories by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the former WBC Super Flyweight Champion of the world from Cebu City, Philippines. Introducing Gerry Penalosa. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, 10 rounds in the bantamweight division. Here is your referee, Ferdinand Estrella, with the instructions.
Gerry, come on. We're fighting for 10 rounds. Obey my command at all times. When I call for break cleanly, and protect yourself at all times. Shake hands, and good luck.
All right, so we're set to go with our very first fight of the evening. Gerry Penalosa, 49-5-2, 33 knockouts. Tomas Rojas, 22-8, 14 KOs. It's the comeback of Penalosa, and for Rojas, an opportunity of a lifetime. He feels like his speed and youth and power is going to carry him past Penalosa, and he's in great shape. Penalosa, the more experienced of the two guys. He's in the black trunks with the gold to the right of your screen right now, and in the blue with the white trim is Tomas Rojas from Veracruz in Mexico.
First thing you notice that neither guy has the lefty advantage. When you're a southpaw, it's a style that many fighters hate to go against because you get all turned around in your punch selection. But now, for both of these guys, it's been negated.
And oftentimes when you see two southpaws, it takes a while, if nobody told you there were two southpaws, to just realize that, hey, we do have two southpaws here. We see it from time to time, and it's not that common. Fire with the uppercut to Penalosa with his first big blast of the fight, which was past the nose of Rojas. Remember, 3.5 inches shorter is Penalosa. Wow, with that left hand that time is Gerry. Remember, that's his power shot. He would like to, I'm sure, after the layoff, end this as quick as he possibly can. But it's Rojas who's known for powerful. With the left hand.
Well, Penalosa really dipped in and found a weakness in the defense.
I tell you, Rojas is making a huge mistake when he kind of hooks with his right hand. He's wide open for a counter right-hand shot from Penalosa. Watch the way he dips, and he drops his left glove, and the right hand can catch it. Sorry, Dave. Penalosa's going to whale of a right-hand hook.
He needs to throw that power shot behind him there. Otherwise, what we just see is going to become common.
right now he's getting away with just ducking away, but he realizes immediately he has stepped up in class, and Penalosa is not concerned about the height. He's not concerned about the fact that he's 7 years older. He's just reaching back and getting all the experience of his nearly 50 wins in his career under his belt, and he's right back like he hasn't been off at all. You know, at this stage of his career, at age 33, to be off for a few years is actually good for him, as long as he's conditioned to his height, which he certainly appears to have his time.
Yeah, you don't get hit for a couple of years until your reflexes get a chance to get back in sync, and you're not too old. Not much difference between 33, say, and 31.
And look at this, Rojas is bombs away. You don't think he's able to land as a right-hand body shot, but he's got to be careful because when he throws it, he drops his left shoulder, and he's going to get nailed by a right hand by Penalosa. Penalosa, very, very good fighter and a former world champion. He only lost his time, you know, by a split decision in Japan.
And that was frustrating in itself, causing a bit of a layoff among other things that were happening at that time. But for Rojas, it's been a risk-reward scenario with the power, and he hasn't gotten the reward, but he has faced plenty of risk.
Hey, I'll tell you one thing for you folks that are watching around the world on in-demand and DirecTV in the United States. We've got plenty of action in the very first fight of the evening with his former world champ working on a guy who would love to be in that territory. Look at this action. Shot! How about that right-hand shot by Penalosa? And the bell ends round one with a big bang. Well, Dave Bontempo, to me, Rojas may be forcing the fight a little bit, but Penalosa totally under control.
Well, Penalosa has Rojas coming to him and setting up a great style for him with some defensive weaknesses coming from the big punches being thrown. Let's see how he takes advantage of this in the opening round. Underneath, ducks a punch first, then comes in with a big shot, and as Rojas turns, Penalosa gets his good power shots in.
Did he turn on his own table? Was the power shot so good it caught him in the back of the elbow that it spun him around? Man, there was some power there. We notice across the way, Freddie Roach working in the corner with Gerry Penalosa, so he's been trained and working with Manny Pacquiao getting ready for this fight. So he's got one of the best in his corner. Here we go, round two from Quezon City, Manila, the Philippines. Are at the Coliseum, this very historic venue. And I'm thrilled to be back here. You know, I was here, Dave, for the Thriller in Manila and doing the radio broadcast of that one, and it's a thrill to be back here. And before this night's over, it's maybe a historic event as well.
That's right. You told people every 31 years I come here, and some of the changes. There's a mall named after Muhammad Ali now here. That's
right hands, left hands, and now here's Rojas trying to come back and make it pay. Looping shot, straight right hand. Look at this. He opens up so much when he throws that big right hand that Penalosa just trying to time his right hand to the right back. Swings to the left hand, back to the right, back to the left side of the head of Tomas Rojas. Rojas up on his toes now, backs off a little bit. One thing about Rojas I like, though, when he comes in the kill zone, he's throwing.
And these guys decided to make a fans fight, and they have gotten the crowd into it. And Penalosa's people up, they're chanting. The styles of this one have set themselves up well. And Penalosa, despite having an abrasion, is coming forward.
Boy, he really loads up shots when he decides to throw. Rojas has more long, looping type shots. Penalosa has a nice compact style of defense, but when he opens up his shots, he really fires. Time has been called by referee Ferdinand Estrella, and we'll see what the situation is here. It must be an equipment adjustment as he walks him down to his own corner. Oh, look at this. I didn't see that. He's cut by the left eye. He's called the doctor in.
Talked about that just a moment ago, the abrasion and then extending worse into a cut. These guys have had their heads coming forward, and you've got danger there.
Now, there's no indication whether this has been a cut by a glove or an accidental headbutt by the referee. We don't know whether it's caused by a glove or by an accidental. And he says now by a glove. That means if he stopped because of the cut, the fight's over, and Tomas Rojas would win.
Go ahead. Penalosa gets a break there then because the fight is, halted with the fact that he was punched. There's no butt there. They took a look at it. That's a break in terms of time for Penalosa because Rojas can't capitalize on what he just achieved.
Well, let's see if Rojas can take advantage of the fact that he has him cut. his shots. He's trying to get right back on top of it. So there's a little bit of urgency for Gerry Penalosa right now. He's got to go to work on this guy. And Rojas is not exactly an easy target, and he's some kind of... And that's the powerful shot. So there is that sense of urgency. Penalosa dips a little bit. The cut is open again as it streams down by the left thigh.
And you know the way that Penalosa keeps coming forward, that you're going to get hit with shots coming in as you're making a fan's fight. Rojas doing a great job working the body. Penalosa knowing that that's a danger, that this fight can be stopped at any time, so he steps it up a notch. And we've got phone booth warfare here.
Yes, we have. A little bit too much room is Gerry giving to Tomas. Tomas loves to work out, so he's out at the end of those long punches and keep this kid off from coming in. Look at these guys battle. Man! There's the bell to end round number 2. Woo! Listen to the crowd. They're into it.
They have been treated to an offensive spectacle.
Some good friends of Frank Belmont, sponsors and friends of Belmonte Productions, Ropes and Jane from North Beach in New Jersey, down the shore, and Lucy up in Jefferson in the mountains, all tuned in. We thank you for your sponsorship and your guidance of Belmonte Productions. We're thrilled that you're watching, and everybody watching on In Demand and Direct TV. What about this cut?
Bad spot, bad looking cut, and should short circuit the fight because we're going to get a lot of stylistic shots in here. These guys are going to be stepping it up with concern about that cut, especially Penalosa, nailed in there, and the referee making the big determination that a punch did it and not a butt. So should this cut continue to bother Penalosa, he loses.
That's right. By the way, the accidental headbutt rule is slightly different here in that you must complete 4 rounds, and the bell has a sound for the 5th before you go to the scorecards. But that's not the case here, because he was cut by a punch, as the referee indicated immediately to us that it was by a punch. So we know that. So if this fight has to be stopped by the cut at this stage, even though we're inside of the start of the 5th round, Penalosa loses the fight. All right, this is round number 3. I'm the Colonel Bob Sheridan with Dave Bontempo, and we are so glad that you're going to be watching around the world because we promise a lot of excitement. This is our first fight of the morning here. It's Sunday morning in the Philippines. And they're wild. Most of them have been up all night. I know in most parts of the world they've got what they call soccer or football, a World Cup fever. Here, boxing is the fever. And I'll tell you this, the champion, Manny Pacquiao, is like a superstar you've never seen anyplace. Look at this here in round number 3 as Penalosa realizes an urgency. Freddie is a very good cut man, Freddie Roach that is, and he's got it closed, but a little bit of blood is starting to trickle down. Actually, a little over a minute has passed. Here he goes to work on Tomas Rojas, who came here with the idea he wants to win this fight.
And a dilemma for Penalosa, because in order to let the cut take place, do what the corner gave you, you have to go around without getting the cut aggravated. But Penalosa has to gamble to try to win this fight earlier because the cut is in a bad spot. So does he choose to mix it up and risk having the cut get worse, or does he try to give it a round off and hope that any coagulants can take effect?
I don't think you give the round off. Look at him. He's on these shoulders. He's flushed Rojas to the midsection. Rojas comes back with a shot on his own, bangs him off the ribs, steps him back, and Penalosa tries to protect that eye as he takes body shots, and then on the inside, Rojas is landing some shots here. He's missing a lot, but he's landing as well. Oh, big right hand back by Gerry.
I'm not talking about taking the round off. He had to sit there and try to have a little bit of a defensive first posture. It was a decision to make, and he's trying to do a little bit of that by getting on the inside so he can smother and then go to work.
On the inside, he is missing a lot of shots. That one was up behind the head, and while there's a little bit of blood coming, it's not really that bad. The worst thing about the cut is where it's located. It's right in the kind of the corner slit of his left eye. Big powerful shots with the right hand that time. So Penalosa can bang with both the right and the left. It forces Rojas to back off. Now he sets up and Gerry closes the gap. He comes in, cuts fly with the left hand, back with the right hand. Misses the left as the uppercuts now from Rojas. Finishes the fight.
So much for intimidation, so much for fighting on the road. Rojas
by Gerry Penalosa. This is just the undercard of what we're going to see. Can you imagine what this crowd is going to be like? And now we're not going to hear the bell for the Manny Pacquiao-Oscar Larios battle. Later on tonight, this man, the biggest star to ever hit the sporting world, especially in this part of the world, and I mean that. You can talk about Tiger Woods, you can talk about the great days of Pele in Brazil, of Beckham in England, but this guy is the biggest star than any athlete I've ever seen in my life in this part of the world. Now we go to the end of the round action, Dave, of Penalosa and Rojas.
Watch these guys mix it up. The right hooks here by Penalosa, uppercuts by Rojas as he digs in. Watch the hip movement by Rojas, and he brought that one shot from his home country. He really tried to load up. Anybody for a jab? Not tonight. These guys are getting inside and wailing away.
By the way, that third round was very, very close. The judges, Arnaud Passion and Captain Ramon Flores and Ricardo Canlas from this area. I would be surprised if any of them didn't give that to Penalosa. But on the other hand, there's a case for the nice work that Rojas did with the exception of that last flurry in the third round. This is round 4 from Manila in the Philippines. Araneta Coliseum. There's a nice jab setting it up as the pace is slowed down just a bit, but it couldn't be as furious as it was going to be for the last 20 seconds. As I say that, Gerry Penalosa in the black trunks picks up the pace, takes shots. He knows how to protect himself, and he's trying to protect that left eye till he sees an opening and a shot. Digging to the body is Rojas.
Rojas has invested in his chin. He is letting shots go. He is willing to take the risk because he's the guy that could be on the outside using height and reach. He's just going inside, wailing away. He is fighting Penalosa's fight, believing that he can cut him, that he can outpunch him. But when you do that, you get nailed. Penalosa is glad that Rojas is coming forward.
Well, Rojas is scoring his share of some punches here now. He's outworking Penalosa right now. Uppercuts, right hands, taking on the glove. The blood trickles again from that left eye of Penalosa. The corner of Penalosa has done a nice job because that cut was open up in the second round. We're in round number 4. We alluded to the fact that the accidental headbutt rule doesn't rule here because it wasn't accidental. It was caused by a glove. Looping left hand landed by Penalosa. Back with the looping right is Rojas. Digs to the body of Rojas. You know, I talked to Rojas about losing the close decisions that he has. He lost 3 of the last 5 fights. This guy doesn't look like a guy that lost 3 of his last 5 fights against a former world champion, Gerry Penalosa. This looks like a good fighter.
He talked about thinking that he won those fights, and although almost every fighter will say that, some guys will come out and have the look of someone who may have lost some tough decisions and not gotten the right call. We'll have to see how he stands up over the course of the fight. But one thing is he has decided tactically to do Penalosa a favor by fighting in tight like this. He can still win, but he's going to call it stuff he doesn't have to. If you have the height and reach, why not use it?
Now he's trying to, but Penalosa has the skill of working in there, and he's terrific holding those hands high until he sees the opening, and he lets Rojas throw his assault, and then he makes him pay, or at least he tries to make him pay. And finished the Rojas in his last fight, which was in April. He lost a 10-round decision to Jose Nieves, and the crowd booed because in that fight he had Nieves down twice and still lost the fight. There's so much noise in here, we just have to watch the referee. You know, the hair of Rojas is kind of like our friend Shannon Briggs. And when a guy that has hair that style gets hit, it looks much more dramatic. And watch what I'm talking about here as you see the end of the round action.
Well, here's Penalosa coming in on the inside, couple jabs, just a little bit of range finder. Then the left hand comes. These are good shots, very good shots coming in here. The hair will accent what's getting hit. It may not present a misleading shot, but when you see the hair fly, you know he got hit. And here is Penalosa again on the inside. Now, Rojas not opting to use the height and reach, and he's paying for it right here. Hey, make the guy work to get inside. You're doing him a favor if you let him just walk in. He may have to make that adjustment.
I gave Rojas the 4th round, though, with the exception of that replay. I thought Rojas was the aggressor.
Penalosa that one.
It's after 9 o'clock here in the morning, approaching the half hour of 9 here, and the crowd is jam-packed and they are pumped. Many of them have been out all night just waiting to get in to see this fight.
Hey, how often do you get a chance to have a cup of coffee and steam your head off like 9 o'clock in the morning?
All right, this is round number 5 in a scheduled 10-round affair, and a dandy to start our show off. Jim Rich Haka and Hector Marquez will do battle next, and then it's Manny Pacquiao and Oscar Larios. That's the real reason we're all here. That looping left hand will do nothing thrown by Tomas Rojas. And Penalosa able to gobble it up, and he works on the inside again as he tries to pick the action up. And again, while the blood is coming out of the corner of that left eye, which was opened up back in the second round, here in the 5th, he paused that a little bit, but he's doing a nice job protecting himself. See the way he works his way in? And Rojas, to me, should be jabbing them and setting up a big shot.
And that's what I've been talking about, the outside style of Rojas. It would serve him better with the height and reach. Now, the secondary element to that is by being on the inside and letting Penalosa smother Rojas, now he's not getting a chance to open that cut with the good stiff jab on the outside. The only thing that would open it now would be some kind of a clash at the heads.
Remember, this kid Rojas is strong. He's never been down in his career. He's never been cut. And in fact, he told me he's never even been in trouble in any fight. He just gets beaten on close decisions, hence his record 22-8 with 14 knockouts. But he doesn't get beaten by much when he does lose.
Penalosa making the most of his inside opportunities, and here's Rojas with a little bit of distance. Let's see if he is able to keep this going. But when he dropped his right hand, look how open he is.
Oh yeah, he's wide open when he drops it, and Penalosa has enough experience to be able to take it right there. And that time he drops the left shoulder. Now here's Rojas, and I thought won the first 2 minutes of the round, and he's still taking body shots. But that little flurry like that here in Manila is going to give the judges an opportunity to score a round for Penalosa in a round that he may not be winning.
When Rojas is on the outside, if he double jabs, he's in a different scenario. He would like that jab to be starting from higher off of his shoulder, however, because he's starting the jab from down low. So even when he's jabbing, he's open as he gets nailed right there by having that jab hand too low.
He got nailed, Dave, but it wasn't as dramatic as what it looked like. The combination of the hair and the way he slips punches, he pulls his head when he feels power coming. Right there. But look at him battle back. Closing seconds now, the 5th round, and it's a war to the bell. Boy, oh boy, I like this fight. This might be one of the best uneven fights I've seen in a long time, huh? Coming up next, a junior lightweight battle is Jim Rex Haka. It's spelled J-A-C-A, but over here they call him the Bomb Haka. He'll be taking on Hector Marquez. Chocolate. There he is. Marquez, 28-16 with 21 knockouts. He hails from the Yucatan. And
good action here with Rojas on the outside, but when he stops for a second, Penalosa comes in and does a lot of good work. So they each have opportunities. What's been interesting is the pace of this fight has been nonstop, and we will see who will be the first fighter to slow, because this has been an intense battle. And look at Penalosa on the inside when Rojas cannot keep him at bay.
all right, here we go. Round number 6, scheduled for 10. By the way, in my score sheet, you folks watching in the United States, I've given Rojas the last 2 rounds. Dave, I know you don't agree with me, but I think that 2 minutes and 45 seconds of the last 2 rounds, he's controlled it. Although in both of those rounds, you give the judges an opportunity to give it to Penalosa, because he did land some very, very heavy blows. He's got a lot of puffiness by that left thigh that's been cut, but they've got the cut closed. Here's Rojas going back to work again. How'd you score the last round, by the way?
I gave the last round to Penalosa. I've got 2 points, 2 rounds for Rojas, 3 for Penalosa, having given one of the earlier rounds to Rojas. So
you and I are in the same spot, but we got there differently again.
Took different flights.
That's it.
Here's Rojas on the outside. This would be a good spot for him in the middle rounds and see if he can get Penalosa anxious. But he has to be double jabbing from out here. The left hand, the jab hand is still low by Rojas. You would like it up higher. If you're going to be outside, keep that hand up high.
Nice uppercut on the inside. Rojas does two things with the jab. Sometimes he drives off the back, uses the jab as a punch. Other times he uses it as a positioning. You see him stick it out 2 or 3 times and then come with a left-hand uppercut or kind of a, oh, he got nailed coming in that time. Boy, Penalosa has an ability to time shots, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's keying off the jab that missed, and when you've been paying attention as he is, you start to key in on what happens when the guy is going to throw his punch, what's going to be open immediately after he throws it, and what he does to tip it off. Now, there's been a little bit of a shoulder turn by Rojas before some of his jab, and so Penalosa may be playing off that.
Now, Penalosa is really a skilled guy, and he waits, he knows what he's doing. That time he ducked and then slipped the punch. He did an excellent job. Rojas, I just don't know how he could fight this guy any better with the tools that he has. He's doing a terrific job, I think. I'd like to see him use the jab as a punch a little bit more to set up his left-hand power shot. But look at his side-to-side movement. He circles around. He doesn't often get caught in the ropes. He throws uppercuts. He gets himself off the ropes down, but he's a little off balance at times. Kind of an awkward sort of guy. And Penalosa, a real classic world champion type fighter.
When Rojas moves like this, he can make Penalosa force the action and perhaps be uneven when he comes and stalks in. But when you get into the middle and rumble with a guy, well, then it's the old 50-50 dice roll. You may outpunch him, but if you stay outside, you can make it easy on yourself, and you can open up that cut, which he appears to be doing here.
And there's that left hand again. Penalosa sparingly has thrown about 3 or 4 heavy blows, and then there's a 5th throw, and then you see the 2-time punches. His Rojas battling back as we come up to the bell to end 6.
Now, when Rojas was outside, and if he doesn't do the work, then Penalosa can steal it with 4 or 5 shots inside.
Man, I don't know how you give that ground as you hear the 6. I don't know how you give that to Penalosa. I saw him land 3 very good blows, but other than that, I thought Rojas just outworked him in that round, Dave.
That's right. He did. There was only 1 flurry in there for Penalosa. That's why Rojas can be effective on the outside when he's fighting his own fight. He can make Penalosa fight when he doesn't want to.
On my score sheet now after 6 rounds, I've got this fight dead even. Now, I don't want to give you folks watching around the world the idea that the local judges are giving it the same way I am.
Here's Penalosa taking shots here from Rojas. When Rojas is outside, he's effective. He can make Penalosa reload. And then you watch Penalosa come up. Am I going to punch? No, I can't. But when you come inside, it's a different story. Now, this is excellent work here by Rojas, and he also opened up the cut more by staying outside.
Now, Freddie Roach has done a nice job working on that cut over in that corner. Here we go, round number 7. This is Tomas Rojas in the blue trunks to the right of your screen. To the left of your screen, former world champ Gerry Penalosa. He's a former WBC super flyweight champ at 115 pounds and was a good one for a long time. We explained to you how he lost his title the same week his dad passed away. He had to try to retain his title, and he lost a split decision, and it kind of took the wind beneath his wings away from him, you might say, and he was off for 3 years, and now he's back with a fire in his belly. But he also has a cut by his left eye, which is a problem because the blood is streaming down now, and we're in the early going of the 7th round. Remember, it was caused by a glove back in the 2nd.
When you watch Rojas, you can see how he's been on the unfavorable end of some close decisions because he gets outside. That's a nice idea, fight that style. But he's throwing the pity-pat punches from outside, whereas when Penalosa gets inside, he gets the better of it, and he has more power. So now the judges have a dilemma when they look at the fight. Do they want a little bit of volume, or do they want intensity, which is what's happening here on the inside with Penalosa? And that is one reason why Rojas has been losing some fights he thought he won.
Penalosa here now is taking advantage of the mistakes that Rojas is making. He's countering him. When he drops his left hand, he's open for the counter left hook. He's holding his hands a little bit lower now than he was in the early going. Not right now at this particular moment, but by and large, you'll see his hands coming down and down here in the 7th round, and that opens it up for Penalosa, who has world-class experience and ability. See, these body shots, a lot taken on the gloves and forearms of Penalosa. He gets off his jab, the stiff jab that time, backs off Rojas. Rojas resets himself, feints, and takes the left hand again. When he feinted that time, he feinted when he throws punches, and then he drops his right hand and got nailed with the left. A couple of pretty good uppercuts, but Gerry blocks most of them with his gloves.
And Penalosa can work on the body shots with Rojas coming to him like this. Rojas, he wants to mix it up a little bit, not have one predictable style. He's in dice roll territory here. He might do well. It's also setting up a power opportunity for Penalosa, who'll try to duck in on the inside and score like that with the guy moving straight back.
Now, see, I think that Penalosa is having his best round now in his last 3 rounds because he's really picking shots. And while from afar to most of the people in the arena here, it might look like Rojas is still getting the better of him. But clearly to me, Penalosa's turned this fight around here in the 7th round. Skills him behind the elbow. Uppercut taken on the chin. This is good stuff. Meanwhile, Gerry's got to be very careful defensively that he didn't get blasted on top of that left eye again. And he's done a pretty good job protecting it while the blood is coming down. He gets hit that time. And he tipped his legs a little bit, and I wonder if he's in trouble. Look at this guy. Battles to the belt. Man, another close round, Dave.
Yes, they are.
I thought Penalosa did better work and pot shotted him better during the course, but it's non-stop action for Rojas. And it all depends on how judges, do you like the accumulation of punches? Do you like the aggressiveness, or do you count, the punches where they really land? In this case, while Rojas from afar looked great to me, I'm giving that round to Penalosa.
I am too, based on the inside body work where he took advantage inside. Now Rojas had been outside and was getting outworked on the inside, but toward the end of the round, he gave the judges something to think about. Here's Penalosa taking a right hook here by Rojas, then pouring some straight shots through, some excellent work here by Rojas. This is why, he's been in some frustrating decisions. He feels it's his best round as he gets a little disclaimer off after, like, hey, I'm in charge here.
We say hello to our good friend from ESPN.com, Don Rafael, who's one of the best, not only boxing writers, best boxing fans that I ever met in my life. And I know, Danny, that it's only 8:05, and tonight's is not a world title fight. So I'm going to get 8:06. He keeps track of my world title fights. This is round number 8. We're in Quezon City in Manila. Oriente Coliseum, the site of the Ali Joe Frazier battle 31 years ago. And before this night is over, I think we might see some history too, as Manny Pacquiao and Oscar Larios do battle. These principals, Gerry Penalosa, the former world champ, at 115 pounds, is really having a terrific boxing show here and sort of a comeback fight for him. He lost that fire and he's got it back. He was cut way back in the 2nd round, and they've done a nice job, but we're early in the 8th round now, and that cut is open up again.
Fortunately for Penalosa, it's below the eye, and it's not above where he can trickle in and really force the doctors to take a quick look at it. He's done a good job keeping it away. On the inside, he's been able to do his best work that way. Rojas has been more effective on the outside.
These are two very likable athletes that have come in here in magnificent shape to put on a show for the crowd in attendance, and they absolutely love it here. This is round 8. His action slowed down just a little bit, but you'd expect it because it's been a furious pace from the get-go.
And the body shots, both of these guys landed early, setting up the fact that this should slow down a little bit later.
Boy, a looping shot that time by Penalosa and Rojas was right back, and I thought Penalosa really nailed it. And part of that, I think, is due to the hair when you see it fly when he gets hit. The perspiration and the hair flies. And you wonder, does that have an effect on the judge? You see that he just tapped him that time, but the hair really flew in sort of the perspiration and water that's on him. Penalosa doing a nice job boxing in this round. Nothing too wild, nothing too dramatic, but he's landing punches.
And when the guy with the smaller reach start to out-jab you, that's a bit of a problem, as Penalosa getting inside, and he sets up stuff with his jab, and that can set up some power behind that. He's doing a nice job getting on the inside. Rojas, not quite taking the round off, but he can't really get himself settled on the outside. Here is when Penalosa beats him to the punch with the jab, it sets up a lot for him.
I wonder if he's a little frustrated too, David, because, he's landed some hellacious shots to the body, and Gerry's in such great shape, he's been able to gobble him up. Gerry's been concerned about not getting really cracked on top of that left eye because the cut occurred way back, and it may have changed his strategy a little bit for this fight, because while he has to be offensive enough to win the fight, he's got to be defensive enough so he doesn't get caught on top of it. Landed a couple of good shots on the inside there. Here's the right hand. Left hand. And whenever he lands something, you hear the crowd react. Right there. That's his power shot. This guy looks like he might be ready to go, but every time you think that, as the bell never has in his career. Gerry Penalosa. This is one whale of a sporting event. This is a good prize fight. There he is, the guy that's making it, Tomas Rojas. Wow.
Guys going back and forth with terrific action, showing good heart, stamina, utilizing the timing in the ring so that at the end of the fight and at the end of the round they're tired, but just enough to get that respite. Now, at the end of this round, it's Penalosa pouring shots through. Good combinations here, driving Rojas back, and Rojas surrendering about 25 seconds of offense here, and this type of a late surge can give a guy a round.
Well, that one I agree with totally, and as a matter of fact, in my score sheet, Dave, now I get Penalosa out in front by 2 points with 2 rounds to go. So Rojas would have to knock him down. That's providing the judges are seeing some of these close rounds the way that I've described them for you folks, and to be honest with you, I would doubt that they're giving Rojas the due justice that I see. I really would doubt that here in the Philippines, because there is an impact of the crowd that certainly the late round flurries would influence. Here we go, round 9. I'm the Colonel Bob Sherder with Dave Bontempo. You're watching In Demand on DirecTV around the United States and around the world. We welcome everybody in the Middle East, Europe, Japan. Our old friend Nobuo Ikoshima's up there in Wawa taking care of the feed in Japan, and we thank him for all his statistical work leading up to this. This is round 9. Gerry Penalosa, the former world champ, to the left of your screen, working on Tomas Rojas, who made this some sort of battle, and a great, great opening fight for all of you watching. At least if you're enjoying it as much as we are describing it for you, Dave.
You know, the lighter-weight fighters so often give you great excitement. They come in there, they wing, they're not overweight, right on top of things, and Rojas knew that he had to come in here, take the judges out of it, was his viewpoint, because he can't seem to win a close decision. And for Penalosa, giving what Pacquiao has done, his own desire to get to 50 wins, you've got quite a great matchup. And you know what? You don't always see a great war with 2 lefties, but we all see it.
Yes, we are. Of course, this country, the Philippines, has a lineage dating back to the 20s and 30s of the last century, when they developed champions in these lower weight classes, under 135 and lower. And we don't really know these fighters in the United States. In this part of the world, they absolutely love these guys, and many of them are national heroes, but none quite like the guy we're going to see later on tonight, Manny Pacquiao. He is the biggest star that I've ever seen in any city, any place. This is round 9 action. Penalosa hot-shotting now. Rojas doing everything he possibly can, but his punches are a little bit wider right now. Penalosa holds him off, gets those hands high, and as the hands come down on Rojas, Penalosa two-shines him with some pretty good power with 2 punches, doubles the jab.
And again, Rojas on the inside will do Penalosa a favor fighting this way, because it sets up an easy place for Penalosa to have shots. He gets inside, he counters. What Penalosa has to be wary of is coming straight back. He's done that a couple times coming out of the exchange, and he might get nailed going straight back off of the inside work.
Yeah, the only thing, Dave, I was going to say that he could do a little bit better is try to take that half step off to the right, get off the left shoulder of Rojas, and try to nail him with better body shots underneath the left elbow, and then come back upstairs with a double hook with his right hand. It's like he's set up right there. And see, Rojas, it's much easier to stop and pick up, but this guy is so aggressive. There it is, right there. He has the idea. He knows exactly what he's doing. Now all he has to do is spin him and throw the right hand. The bell ends the 9th round, and every closing 15 to 20 seconds of every round has been extraordinary.
It really has, and Penalosa getting the edge of the last couple, and the fighters smile at each other at the end of round 9, almost a congratulatory salute to each other. They'll tap gloves for the 10th, and then they'll let it go because they've put on quite a whale of a show. But we've seen Rojas now missing more in the last couple rounds. Those shots that were getting in earlier, not quite scoring here, and as a result, Penalosa has so much more to shoot at. First, he avoids the shots of Rojas, then he ducks underneath and scores well to the body there and puts on a good display at the end of the round to try to sway the judges in his direction.
Penalosa has a lot based on winning this fight. He's scheduled to fight Martin Castillo for the WBA Super Flyweight title. So So he doesn't want anything to slide by where Rojas might take this fight away from him in the last round, which would mean a knockout as far as the way my score sheet is. Well, here we go. It's been extraordinary, and the crowd in the Philippines love it. Many of them on their feet
final round
at the Araneta Coliseum on a Sunday morning as Gerry Penalosa and Tomas Rojas do battle in the 10th and final round. What a terrific way to start off our morning, your evening around the world. This is a terrific, terrific fight with two little guys doing battle. Penalosa came in at 118 and Rojas just a pound lighter at 117, and they put on some kind of boxing show. This is boxing at its best. With all the criticism about the sport, they want to see a good fight. And the people that took the time to buy the pay-per-view on In-Demand and DirecTV, you're getting your money's worth so far. And the big show is yet to come.
Yeah, this has been non-stop action with Tomas really making the fight because of the stylistic decision he made to come in and get inside with Penalosa so that they could exchange. Problem for Rojas is he's throwing a lot of wide shots in this battle, and Penalosa, tightening up his defense, has been able to stop a lot of that from pouring in. And so Rojas has not gotten momentum. Now Penalosa is trying to tee off with the opening.
Yeah, he's looking at the big opening. He'd like to make this definitive by cracking this guy up. Look at the uppercut. There's no stopping Rojas. He keeps coming forward, and that, in a way, is going to frustrate Gerry. Penalosa trying to get in position to nail this guy. Picks off his shot. You see the way he parried that punch with his right hand, pushed it down, but he couldn't get back in position to let his own right hand go. So he's looking for the opportunity to throw a very powerful left. And he's taking shots, but he's taking them on the gloves and on the elbows and the body because he's in such great shape. And this is the 10th round.
Biggest development for Penalosa is that he's been able to adjust and operate on the inside without getting hit too much throughout the middle rounds and the later rounds of this fight. And the confidence is oozing out of him now as he's happy about the fact he can load up, throw a lot of punches. He's evading the shots by Tomas, and so he's scoring big now.
Last 50 seconds of the fight, and Penalosa still looking for his shots as Rojas tries to put the pressure on him. Now, to this point, you'd almost have to give the round in many ways for aggressiveness to Rojas. To Penalosa's landed such heavy blows. It's his round.
And he's taken him to school despite the fact that he has been the one counterpuncher. This is how a counterpuncher can win a round. You don't see it too often, but this is the classic example of a guy able to toy with the guy attacking him.
Gabe, so well put. How frustrating is this? Looping shot. If this was a 12-round fight, it'd probably go the same way for the last couple of rounds. But this has been some sensational performance by two tremendous professional athletes. Big right hand landed that time by Rojas, but Penalosa able to gobble it up. There's no quit in Rojas. I can see why he's never been down. There's the bell. How about that? Listen to the crowd. Man, oh man, that is professional boxing at its very best.
And these guys know it too. They embrace each other right away, and they went bell to bell. Never holding back.
There's a round that I really feel bad for giving to Penalosa because he was taking him to school. But when you see a guy work as hard as Rojas did, and he most likely is going to get another loss, his record will move to 22-9. But man, you don't see guys work like that, attack like that, and just not getting the wins. It's really, really difficult. Great sportsmanship. Both of these guys we mentioned, terrific people. Gerry Penalosa, wonderful, wonderful guy, known him for many years. And of course, Tomas Rojas, we just got to know, and a nice kid.
Rojas coming forward, but he misses. Then watch Penalosa block a shot. Here's Rojas with some more. Then Penalosa comes back, works the inside, takes a couple, comes back, ducks. Rojas is missing everything. The good ring generalship there by Penalosa, and tremendous heart by Rojas. Came to fight, was punching down. That was not easy for him to do, but good pace of this fight. Fans were up on their feet a number of times, and we enjoyed it quite a bit.
I scored at 97-93, but I don't expect the judges will have it quite that close as Arnel Passion and Captain Ramon Flores and Ricardo Canlas will do the official scoring. But it's academic because Penalosa is going to get the unanimous decision, I'm quite sure. And again, I had it 97-93. We'll see how the judges have it. Ring master Ted Long has moved into position as we take a look at a recap of the fight.
Early on, Body shots here by Penalosa, turning Rojas. Rojas back, fighting on the inside. Good work stationing himself here by Penalosa. When the fight was inside, Rojas was doing him a favor. As he's moved along, good work again. The big misses by Rojas as he tried to go for the big shots. Penalosa operating well. Rojas did his best work outside, but here on the inside, he got outpunched. The mouthpiece is out. It gives you a good idea of what Penalosa was able to do when he could operate.
Isn't it? Look at this stuff.
He operated and he relied on Rojas to set the pace. Now watch Rojas on the outside. He does his best work on the outside, and he was able to neutralize Penalosa from here. This is where Rojas does his best work. On the outside, he can't be countered so easily. But at the end of the last couple rounds, it was Penalosa doing his good inside work.
This is where the cream really rose to the top in the closing rounds of this fight. Great stuff.
Based on what the replays showed you, Rojas won 2 rounds. We'll see how the judges had it. I had him a little more. I had him winning 3.
I had him winning 3 as well. But we didn't get there the same way. We saw rounds differently. All right, Ted Lerner is standing by. You've heard what we have to say. Let's make it official. Here's our ring announcer, Ted Lerner. Ted?
Ladies and gentlemen, here in Manila, Philippines, after 10 rounds of boxing, we go to the scorecards. Captain Ramon Flores scores the bout 97-93. Arnel Pasion 98-92. And Ricardo Conlas 98-93. All for your winner by unanimous decision, Gerry Penalosa.
Actually, in the same ballpark we were in, they had to